to the astrology interview. And today I've got Louise Hedges with me. Now, Louise is a psychic, a medium, and I met her because I went to see her. And I was so impressed with her authenticity and her skills as a medium. I've never been to a medium that was more accurate ever, and I've been to quite a few. And I also have actually worked as a medium, but I was very, very impressed by your skills. So I thought it'd be smashing to talk to you, Louise, just about. I'm really curious about how all of this works. And also, I think I've been talking to quite a few astrologers recently about how they use their psychic skills without necessarily even sort of being aware of them as they're working with clients. And I'm becoming more aware of that myself. So before we launch into that, Louise, just tell me a bit about you and how this all happened for you. Were you aware that you had these skills as a child? What happened for you as a youngster?
Firstly, hello, and thank you for lovely introduction, and it's lovely to see you again as well. So, as a child, I've always had a knowing about spirit. I've always had a belief in literally everything. ETs, yes, I believe in them. Can't prove it, never seen one, but yes, I believe in it. Spirit, yeah, absolutely, of course. And I've always had this fascination and interest with all things spiritual, really. We did not have a spiritual family growing up. My parents were very open about anything, but we weren't like a spiritual family. I have two sisters as well that also work in this field as well. So the older we got, the more connected we are in that way. But as a young child myself, I experienced somebody sitting on my bed at night time, never questioned it, never felt fearful. We, you know, we had an old farmhouse that was our great grandparents, and all three of us were a bit like, oh, this is a bit scary down this hallway that was a bit dark and a bit spooky. But again, just having an understanding but not being too frightened by it all. I was really interested in Doris Stokes. She was the first medium
Yes.
I'd ever heard of. Like, what is this, and who is this woman? And I think we had an old VHS recording of her somehow, and I would watch that a lot, and I read her books when I was young, and I was absolutely fascinated by her. And then
I actually went to see her. I did, and it was in London, and it was oh, I can't remember where it was, but sort of like a big, not a stadium, but a big hall, standing room only.
Wow.
I'll
Because
never forget it.
I don't know if there were many others that were doing what she did at the time on TV and being filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was amazing. And then just teenagers kind of let it go a little bit. And then it really picked up again when I had my children, and I was living in an old cottage. We had a restaurant at the back because at the time, my husband then was a chef, and we ran restaurants and pubs and things like that. And the house we lived in was haunted. Okay, it was really haunted. All three of my children were being woken up at night time with this woman standing over them, singing in their ear, talking to them, pressing down on their bodies. And so I was like, right, this isn't quite right. I experienced a few negative things as well. I had my duvet pulled off me at night time. I had my hair pulled in my bed. I absolutely know I was pushed down the stairs one night as well. And I thought, right, this isn't right. I need to get this sorted. So I was introduced to an amazing medium who I knew through an auntie of mine, and he connected, he came, he cleared the house. Had no idea what that was. What on earth is a clearing? But I felt the difference. So he came in and he took that soul, that lovely trapped lady. It was an older lady who had lived in the home before me, and she felt like I was intruding into her life, that they were her children, my husband was her husband, and what on earth was I doing there? So that's why she aimed a lot of it my way. He cleared it, and the energy felt instantly different. The house had a warmer feel to it. It wasn't so dense, and I hadn't realized I'd been living in that environment for so long and not really knowing. So that really introduced me into spiritualism in that way. Then I found a spiritualist church, and went to my first service, I walked in the door, and that saying, I felt like I'd come home, was never truer than that at that moment. And cliche it might be, but that's how I felt. And I listened to the medium, because they have philosophy as well as demonstrations of mediumship, and I love the philosophy. That's my favorite part of a spiritualist church environment. And that was it. I was hook, line, and sinker. Couldn't get back there regularly enough. Started training to become a spiritual healer, actually, to start with. And then the mediumship just followed, because I started sitting in circle, and trance was really where I wanted to go at the very beginning. And I've sat and done that a little bit, but not too much. It was more mediumship, you would know it now, really, giving people messages. So that's how I got into it.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
okay, you've been working a long time as a medium for almost over 20 years now.
Yeah,
Okay, so the big question, how does this work? Because it does.
it
And
does.
I don't know if you have the same in my own experience. It's kind of like a telepathy. I see things or I get impressions. I'll put it that way. I know some people hear it or feel it, but for me, it's impressions. How does it work for you, and where do you think it's coming from?
So it works for me. I feel and sense spirit. I do see things, but internally, and I hear things internally. Very rarely do I hear externally or see. I see orbs, I see energy. I mean, when I was younger, I used to see what I would call the air. I used to say to my mum and dad, I can see the air. And they were like, you're mad. But I was seeing auras and I was seeing energy, but I just didn't realize that's what I was seeing. So I can see an orb very often, but more for me, it's that feeling. I just get that sense of spirit around me, and they always come in on the right hand side for me, and I feel their personality. I will feel how they appear physically, and more for me, it's much more how they feel, their emotions. So frustratingly, I very rarely ever get a name from spirit. It drives me mad. I constantly argue with them. Why can't you give me a name? You give me all this information and I can't get a name. What's that all about? But my guide said to me, it's because we need you to feel them and feel how they felt and go into who they were as a person. So when I describe somebody, when I'm doing a reading, it's much more from that perspective of how they felt during their life, their emotions, their sadnesses, their joy. That's how I work. And that's,
Yeah, I mean, you gave me an incredibly personal message from my dad that nobody else could possibly know. I mean, it just nobody could know. And I'm curious because you said the spirits come in. Are they spirit? Are they ghosts? What are they? I mean, is it actually the person disembodied, or is it an kind of what do you call it? An imprint from them? Do you actually feel that they're disincarnated people?
yes, I feel I'm connecting to their soul essence. I feel that their energy comes back to connect with me. And that's how I feel them. I don't feel a print or anything like that. I just feel I feel them so deeply. I feel that I really feel their energy and their love, their passions, whatever it is that they want to bring to me. So I feel I connect with the soul of the person who has passed
Right.
over. And I very often, when I'm doing readings, I will say spirit are around, so I feel that the soul of the person comes back, but also I feel other energies around. So I feel that I work with a team, and I will connect with your guides and your loved ones and your ancestors, and maybe mine in there as well, and they bring a message from them like a team. And that's becoming more and more common in the readings that I'm doing.
So it's more like that it isn't just one a disincarnated spirit. It's like a whole, as you said, kind of team of
Yeah, I
people
feel that.
delivering that message, that one message. And
I do feel that, even though, say, for
yeah,
example, if your mother came forward, she'd be the one that steps in and her energy would be strongest, and we'd describe her and her
yeah,
personality. But then I feel a team then assembles and brings a message from the spirit world. That's how I am working at the moment, because I think things are changing and there's a lot more guidance coming in during my readings. I can't speak for other mediums, but I sorry.
No, I'm just thinking, because do you think, this is where I struggle with it all. Do you think that if somebody's very attached to family, I've been reading a lot of Helen Greaves' wonderful book. What's it called? Something like The Transformation of Light. It's not that, but it's something like that. And she a nun died, and then she's come back, and she's delivering these messages to Helen Greaves to write down. And at the end of the book, there is this. The dead nun says that the soul has to start to disentangle from the attachment to the physical life. And I'm just wondering that people who die very consciously, who want to go on, do they move on very quickly, or do you have to go through this process of being still attached in some form to people in the physical planet? I hope I put that okay.
I personally don't feel like spirit attached to us in that way. I feel sometimes we more attached to them, especially if you can't let them go, and you're constantly thinking about them. It's like you're pulling them close to you, and their energy is around you so much to, yes, bring you comfort. But I think we attach to them much more than them to us. That's how I understand it.
Do you feel like that they would like to let go then, or are they happy doing what they're doing?
I feel that if we're hanging on to them and it's causing us to be blocked, or to stop us leading our lives, or to stop us evolving and carrying on without them, then I feel like, yes, they would very often come through and say, you've got to lead your life now. You have got not to let go, but I feel that they step back and pull their energy back sometimes, because there are some people that just cannot let go and live from reading to reading to reading, and on every word that you say. And actually spirit have come through sometimes and said that that's not how it should be, so we're going to pull back. We're not going to come through in every reading, and we're going to let this person move on how they need to move on, and learn the lessons that they need to learn without that influence of their loved ones around them.
Isn't that interesting? So really, it's about us taking responsibility, isn't it? I'm very interested in the whole concept of how, and it's interesting to see how you feel about this being a medium, this whole concept of that life is a training us to become ancestors ourselves. And because we don't understand that, and we live in this crazy, mad, foot on the accelerator world, and we never stop and reflect, or it's very difficult to find time just to breathe out. I wonder about that.
I mean, we come back many, many times. So there is going to be a point where I think we evolve enough to become a guide and to come and support. And if we've been here enough times and we've learned enough, and we go back to the world of spirit and we are enough of an evolved guide or source or energy, we do come back and support our loved ones and help them move forward. But it's also very interesting in a reading, because people will come through to prove who they were as the person in this lifetime. So they come in, and especially if they were a very difficult person or a very aggressive person, or they did not live a very good life, so they have to come through and prove themselves, because that's the proof you need to give to your client that their loved ones are around. And then they kind of say, and now this is me as spirit. And now I've shed that overcoat, and this is my spirit essence, and I want to come through and speak to you like that. So they kind of drop that persona of the last incarnation and the last person they were, and they come through as spirit. And that's beautiful when that happens. Yeah. And
That must be really profound experience then of of detaching from the ego personality, and I
Yeah.
fell in love with that person, or that's my mother, or that's my father. Oh, hang on a minute, they've gone beyond that.
Yeah. And they're coming back and they're speaking with a different tone and they're using a different language. And sort of you find yourself having to explain how it all works because it doesn't make sense. Well, my dad never spoke like that. But no, this is his soul, this is his spirit speaking to you like this and using, this beautiful guidance and good wishes for you.
Do you think that in the realm of, I mean, isn't it? It's so wonderful just to think about the realm of spirit. I've always thought that there is that there's one realm that's very close to us in this sort of sense of staying close to us in human form, and then I think there's other realms, and I
Yeah.
feel like I feel like there is a realm where perhaps if we choose to go through it, or that I don't want to use the word ascend or learn or whatever it is, that we don't have to come back, but until we reach that evolutionary process, that we do, but maybe we come back, the more evolved that we are, we don't come back and do the kind of the really tough, heavy lifting work that a lot of us have to do on this planet.
Yeah.
Lighter, or we become teachers, or we become, we come back as that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that that's exactly how it works. And I mean, we choose our lives, we choose the lessons, we choose how difficult it's going to be. And some of us come back and think, right, that's it, I'm doing it all in one lifetime. And they just have an awful experience
Yeah,
from start to
yeah,
finish, really. And then they can go back and assess and evolve and learn and perhaps choose a slightly more gentle or easier life the next time round. But as with anything, when we go through difficulties and we know we can get through it and we know that we are strong, we come back better. And I do think that
yes,
that's exactly how it is for the soul as well. And I feel also we go to other planets and we go to other places in between. I don't think we come back here every single time. It doesn't feel like that to me. I can't prove that, but it
no,
feels right to me. And the more things are changing, and I do think the energy is changing. My readings are certainly changing, and I don't know how it is for other people at the minute, but I feel there's much more of a connection to other beings, to other entities. I'm feeling that more and more in my readings. I feel I've got ETs coming in sometimes to connect with people and to bring messages through, and I just feel their energy so differently, and I can almost see them physically, whereas I can't always see a human in the same way. So it's really shifting.
isn't that interesting? Well, talking astrologically, that's very much Pluto moving into Aquarius, because Aquarius is about this expansion of the higher realms, or technology, or ETs, and that kind of vibe. And then
Mm.
we've just had Uranus moving into Gemini, which is all air sign. These are two, Aquarius and Gemini are air signs, and Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So I'm not surprised
Right.
this is
Okay.
happening. I'm not. And I think this whole concept of ETs, which has been talked about a lot at the moment, I don't know what it means or who they are, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. And it's quite, I mean, when it first started happening, I was like, what? I can't say this. This is madness. But it's only certain people that they are showing up for. So it's people that work very much in the holistic healing side of life at the moment. And this is where these readings are really becoming very, very different. And they're using much different vocabulary. And it's fascinating. I absolutely love it. I love the way these readings are going at the moment. So it is shifting and changing.
Can you give us an example of the kind of vocabulary they would use?
No, not off the top of my
Oh,
head. I'm really
okay.
sorry.
But,
That's
but,
really
but it's,
awful.
I suppose it's higher, inverted commas, higher teachings.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
exactly it. That's
yeah.
perfect. It's
Rather
certainly,
than, hello, I'm dad and I had a
yeah,
kid kidney
Yeah,
infection. I
absolutely.
died of that. Actually, no, this is about higher understandings.
Yeah, different vibrations, different modes of working, different ways of healing. They're talking a lot about sound healing as well at the minute, and that's coming into a lot of readings for people that are already healers and are quite open to this. They're talking about their guides being different, and there's a lot of star beings coming in that are guides and are making themselves known to me. But then whenever I pass it on, they always say, yeah, I know, I've seen them. I know that I'm working with,
Yes.
Arcturians, or I've got a Pleiadian around me, or
Yes.
I'm feeling all of that energy coming in. And they're talking about symbols as well, a lot of symbols coming in, to upgrade people and to upgrade their energy, and to work with them. So it's fascinating. Downloads as well. There's a lot of people having great big downloads at the moment, and they feel it, when you connect and you bring that energy and that a message forward, they've experienced it. So it's fascinating. I love it.
Yeah, yes, it's I think it's it's certainly I'm very interested in the collective and in the zeitgeist and how we create the zeitgeist, and it's like and mediumship and psychic abilities have always been, and astrology were always pushed into the background and told it was nonsense, or it was that's thanks to the age of enlightenment, and if you can't see it you can't prove it, so it doesn't exist. And
Yeah.
we've had to deal with this repression. So it's very interesting how it's all stepping forward again.
Yeah, I
It's
really feel it.
rediscovered.
Yeah. And it's a lovely feeling, and the energy is just so different. And I can't wait to be more immersed in that type of reading, than perhaps the generic sort of, I've got your mum, I've got your dad here, although that's lovely. And of course, every reading is so wonderful to be able to give, because for me to just be able to bring somebody through and prove to my client that their loved one is still in existence but somewhere else, and the healing that that brings to someone, there is
Yeah.
nothing more enjoyable, than doing that for somebody, and helping them sometimes to see that when the penny drops, and they're like, wow, and the healing, and they come out just looking a little bit lighter and a little bit brighter. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, it releases the grief, I think, a lot of times, doesn't
I
it?
think so. I mean, how can it not really? Um,
Yeah.
and especially, I'm getting a lot of people that are coming forward for the first time ever. Normally you get people that, yeah, I've had a reading or tarot reading or this, but there's a lot of newbies coming forward now, which I think is wonderful, because it means that there's more people opening up and being willing to going out there and seeing, well, what else is there? Because I just feel that there is. So it's
Yes.
lovely. And it excites me so much to feel like all their little lights are being turned on all over the world. And that I love, to get
Mm.
that image in my head.
Yeah, it's all part of the Great Awakening, isn't it? And I do think this is Uranus going into Gemini and very much Pluto going into Aquarius. So I find, and I mean, there are thousands of people, particularly women,
Yes.
learning astrology now. So the feminine principle is very much coming back into well, we can use the word occult, but actually occult isn't scary stuff. It just means hidden. So it's definitely coming out, and it's into the divine feminine.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And I'm sure you're seeing a lot of female clients.
I do, and they have always been the majority, but interestingly, I'm seeing more and more men.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
new.
more men who don't really believe, but they're coming for readings now, and they're quite open to what you give them. So that's been really interesting. I'd say in the past 6 months, more and more men are coming through, which is lovely.
That's really hopeful.
Yeah,
So, who do you most struggle with when I mean, we all struggle with clients, don't we?
yeah.
Some clients. What's the most difficult for you?
The most difficult for me is when well, you get all different types. You get ones that come in and just they're completely closed, and they're like, go on then, prove it. And you can give them all of this information that's spot on, yes, 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 and then they'll come away and say, well, she said he was 5'7" and he was 5'8", so no, it wasn't very good. And you're like, "Oh, well, what can you do about that?" But the most difficult ones are the ones that don't listen to what spirit are telling them, because there's always so much beautiful advice for them and how they can help themselves and how to connect with their own intuition, to feel the energy as well. Like spirit often come in and say, feel the energy of a decision that you want to make. Is this the right job? Is this the right person? Is this the right home? Feel that yourself. And it's sort of they're teaching them as well during a reading. It's not just bombarding them with, you know, you're going to meet your next boyfriend in 3 weeks' time and job coming. It's much more than that. And the ones I struggle with most are the ones that don't listen to that advice and make it your responsibility to sort their life out. I find that really hard.
Because there's a lot of people, I'm sure it happens for you, but when I think of people like us in the really on the front line, you know, people come to us because they're either in a crisis or they want to know information, but there is a lot of expectation, I would imagine, on you to sort them out.
Yeah, hugely. And why aren't, you know, why is spirit telling me that and it hasn't happened yet? I'm like, well, I have to explain. Sometimes spirit don't really have the same timeline as we do. And if I give you 3 months, then there's something in 3 months' time where the energy will shift for you to be able to take that opportunity and open a door for yourself. It's not all spirit are going to do everything for you. You know, you have to be more aware of the energy. And again, I have to explain to people that based on the energy and how things are for you at the moment, this is the probable outcome that spirit are giving me. But we have free will down here. And I use that word a lot for them. We have free will. You can change this. But if you feel into the energy properly, then this is how it's going to probably turn out for you. So
it's a hard one though, isn't it? Because there are a section of people, I'll put it that way, who really struggle to take responsibility for themselves. And this is when they go back and back and back, have another reading, go to an astrologer, or they go to, I don't know, a tarot card reader, and they're going round in circles going, where's the next fix?
yeah.
So how do you work with that?
So I sometimes quite like to bring a little bit of teaching into my readings as well. So again, like I said, about teaching them to feel into their own energy, to explain to them, well, when you walk into a room and you get a funny feeling, that's you being a bit psychic. Or when you think, oh, I really like that person, I don't know why I'm drawn to them. It might be that you are either in the same soul group or you need to have an experience with that person, and that's why you're drawn to them. So it's trying to get them to see a little bit outside of the box so that they can then start investigating all of this for themselves, and that they can be more in tune with their energy and therefore help their own progression and path to be a little bit easier.
Yeah, because nobody can fix anyone else, as we all know. We can't. We can be guides and mentors and go, oh, try that way, but that's all we can do.
Yeah, you can point them in a direction, but they have to sort of do it themselves, which is what I hopefully bring to people in my readings.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh God, you certainly do. My goodness me. Is there anything else that you would like to say to people, just to leave them with a bit of guidance?
So very often when I do a demonstration or I finish an evening, I will always say to people, if I can give you one bit of advice, it's trust your gut instinct, trust your own intuition. And people, you can see them going, yeah, I don't do that enough, or I went against my own intuition and look where it got me, and I knew I should have done that and I didn't. It's to really reinforce to them, trust that, all right, because it may not make sense to you at the time, and it might seem like, you know, you've got a choice, should I go here or not? And there was one situation that came up for me, and we were invited to a spiritual retreat for with lots of other wonderful mediums and healers, and it just didn't feel right for me to go. Everyone else said yes, and I was the only one that said no, and I had a great big no entry sign given to me when I meditated on it. So I said, no, I'm really sorry, I'm not going. And I thought, why aren't I going? This is crazy. Everyone else is going off to have this experience except for me. But it turned out that it wasn't the best experience for the rest of them either. And so I felt like I kind of validated my own trust in my own gut instinct. So, you know, if you talk the talk, you've got to walk the walk as well, haven't you?
You
And it's
sure have.
not always easy. And other things I want to say to people is, look at your children and try and encourage them to feel energy, to trust their instincts. I would love it if children were taught to meditate and could have a sound bath every week at school. Wouldn't that be amazing?
It
Just
would.
from there, So again,
Yeah.
it's trust your child. Trust if they're telling you something and you feel it's right, trust them.
Yes. And out of the mouth of babes.
Yeah.
They say my 4-year-old grandson, he was just having lunch, just turned around and said, am I going to die one day?
Wow.
Yeah,
What did
literally.
you say?
Must have been thinking about death, was follows in his granny's footsteps, that's for sure.
Yeah, probably.
So we had this lovely conversation about, oh yes, and mummy's going to die, and daddy's going to die, and Teddy's going to die, and he was completely, oh okay then, and just carried on eating lunch.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Well,
Yes.
my 4-year-old granddaughter, my father recently passed, and she regularly sees him and she says, he's waving, and I'm waving back to him. And he gave a little message that he didn't want to go, he wanted to stay with Nanny. And and it was so spot on. But it's lovely to encourage them as well, to keep them engaged in that lovely connection with spirit where they've just come from. And I think if we can do that for our children, they'll have a very different life experience to us and our ancestors.
Oh my goodness me. I mean, that's my hope. My
Mm.
hope does lie in the younger generation,
Yeah.
actually, because we are their mentors. So,
Yeah.
there is another way. It does not have to be this linear ticking of the clock life. It doesn't. It's an evolutionary experience that you're having. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and how different that would be for absolutely.
Encourage them to feel into it,
Yeah.
make decisions using that guidance.
And listen to them. Listen to what
Yeah.
they're saying.
Yes,
They
exactly.
know.
They do. They're great
Yeah.
teachers for us, especially all these lovely little star seeds that are coming down at the moment. And I'm doing a lot of readings as well for clients that have got children that are struggling with autism or ADHD. And, it's just about.
How does that all work out for you as a medium?
It's very
Working.
much about spirit coming in and explaining their sensitivity and explaining why they've come. Because a lot of people, I say, have you heard of star seeds? And they've haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. So it's about explaining how these lovely little souls are coming down to help us with our ascension and to teach us and to help us all move forward. And then hopefully again it's like that penny dropping of, oh, my child's down here because of this, and that's why they don't like that food and that loud noise and that environment. So it's hopefully them going away with a different perspective of their child so that they can then help them differently.
I think it's really interesting that they don't like loud noises, and we
Mhm.
have a very loud world,
Yes, very loud.
very loud, and they're coming in going, no, we don't want that. That doesn't
Yeah.
work for us. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And of
Mm.
course, all the adults or the parents of these children are going to have to start really acknowledging that, and it will become much more mainstream with all of
Well,
these little.
I mean, there's so many of them,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
there?
they
And
really are.
this is sort of like random. This is group soul incarnation. We're going to do it. We are different, and we're doing it differently.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most people have got a child on some sort of spectrum in their family,
Yeah.
so we're all being touched by these lovely little souls.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's overdiagnosis. I don't know. But certainly it's so prevalent now
Mm.
where I met a mum the other day and she had 3 kids on the spectrum.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah, it's quite common, isn't it?
it's very common.
But also they love healing. I mean, I'm also a Rahat celestial healer, and they love that energy and crystals, and all these children. I always say, do your children like crystals? Like, yeah, they're surrounded by crystals. It's just because they're so in tune with it all. They understand it much more than we do.
Gosh, we're entering such interesting times. I'm very, very so interested to hear about how your readings are changing from, here's dad to
Yeah.
this higher teachings. I would say bang on course.
Yeah, I'm going to have to rebrand myself at some time, I think, because I've got to manage people's expectations
Yeah.
of what they're going to get in a reading now. So I'm
Yeah.
just going through that sort of shifting from one to the other phase.
Yes, of course.
As
Oh my gosh, it's all so exciting.
It really is, isn't it?
For people who are awake, it's like, whoa,
Yeah,
been waiting a long time for this, and here it is.
yeah, it is exciting,
Yeah.
and it's nice to have a different way of working for me as well. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we're shifting a bit, are we? What's all this that's going on? So, and it's trusting, having that trust, because it's, it's one of the biggest things with mediumship is trusting what you're getting. And am I going to say the wrong thing? Especially when you're starting out, it's that confidence, it's that imposter syndrome as well. Like, who do I think I am that I can give this message? Because as well, people are grieving. It's a very difficult time. You have to tread carefully, and what you say really matters. So you've got to be very confident with what you're saying to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes,
And you run trainings, don't you, for
yeah,
people?
yeah.
So how do people find you, and how do they A, come and have a reading with you, and B, how do they sign up for your training?
So you can go to my website, louisehedgesmedium.com, and on there you'll find the connection to our online circle. I'm just about to start running an in-person circle, and my training and everything else that I do will be on my website.
Fantastic. Louise, loved speaking with you.
You, thank you.
I think we were drawn together. It was one of those, I have to go and see you. And then, oh, okay.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure doing your reading because it was a bit different as well. And it's really nice to me when I think, do you know what? I can do that with this person.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Oh gosh, it was brilliant. Okay, so I will put Louise's contact details beneath this video, and if you have enjoyed what you've heard, please press the like button and leave us a message. We'd love to hear from you. So see you next time. Bye for now.